had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the sunrise.
This is the greatest idea for a show ever. I mean,
do you want to present it? Because I don't really have the...
Okay, folks, story time. Buckle up here.
Boom.
If you're listening, cozy up on the couch or
Grab a beverage.
slow your running pace. Maybe,
I am interested to what's like the stationary to active
I know.
ratio.
If you're doing the dishes, you might want to turn the intensity of the water flow down a little bit so you can hear every word of this, because this one's a good one.
Also, we have like 5 reviews on podcast platforms.
Really?
So if anybody wants to give us a review, just like you don't have to write anything. You just give us a...
You can have AI write it.
You can have AI write it, or you just give us the stars.
Yeah, we'll take the stars.
However many stars you want to. If you think this is a 1-star show,
Here's the crazy thing, Alex.
by all means.
We've been doing this podcast for 2 years, and we only have 5 reviews for the audio version.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on Depop, which is cool eBay, just so you know. It's cool eBay. For 3 months, and I have 22 reviews.
Yeah, that's just goes to show what you're selling is a lot more interesting than what we're
I
talking
guess
about.
old T-shirts and Atlanta Braves sweaters are, like when you ship them fast.
We have 5 reviews. We do not ship things fast here.
We ship our ideas fast, even though this is from 2 weeks ago.
Shit, all right.
Settle down.
It is. Just leave a review.
Yeah,
It would be greatly appreciated.
just to say, yeah.
Just for fun. Especially on, what's that podcast platform called that's not podcast? Or Spotify.
The podcast platform that's not
The other one,
podcast. My brain's melting.
It's like
Podlamania,
I have no idea.
Podify.
Anyways, whatever podcast, whatever you use.
It's on. It's out.
Whatever
It's
you
scattered
got.
everywhere.
Whatever you got. All right, let's get into it.
Okay. So in my state of disengagement and intellectual laziness, I unplug every night and decompress and watch some of the YouTubes. And a channel has recently popped up into my feed that I found rather interesting, because there's sort of a quality to it that reminds me of our conversations, even though this is one person who is likely sort of writing an essay and then voice overing that essay in a very sort of I'm making this up as I go along kind of way. And that's not for me. That's not like a negative thing necessarily, but there's definitely feels like this person knows to do that. Especially because they're like 24 minutes long,
There's like a layer, and there's a clear layer of like performance that you can feel.
And I think that comes through in sort of like there's a cogency of thought mixed with sort of like a improvisational discovery thing going on. Anyway, so I was like,
that's actually what we're doing on these podcasts.
Absolutely.
It's just really dumb.
Yeah.
Like the essays that we write are really bad.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like I have a teleprompter right here, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And Matt has one right here.
Right. Yeah.
We script the whole conversation before we actually sit down and record these.
And we use some assistance. Alex is his program to say like Werner Herzog every other episode, and mine's to bring up Rick Rubin.
Martin Scorsese. I mean, ChatGPT writes most of it for me. I'm not going to lie. But
yeah, we're just reading off the teleprompter. So I found this channel interesting. I thought the imagery that was presented was interesting. And since I didn't know the source, I was like, gosh, where's this coming from? Is this archival footage? Da, da, da. I kind of like what this person is presenting, these ideas, and I find it interesting. And I was like, I'm curious what Alex thinks of this. So I sent him a link. And then when we got together 2 weeks ago, when I originally wrote that down, I was like, just watch a little bit of this and let me know what you think. I tried not to qualify it or give a lot of context, blah, blah, blah. And so he watched it, and I think you started asking about the imagery, like where's this from? And I think I just sort of was like, I kind of have like Prelinger Archives. For those of you who don't know, Prelinger Archives is like an online archive of tons of media, especially video or film that was, converted to video. And you can get stuff from like the 40s and 50s and people's home movies that were shot on 8mm, all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm like, maybe she's pulling from all of that stuff. And then Alex saw something in one of the images that let him know it was from an existing piece of work, a documentary. And do you want to share?
It was Jonas Mekas.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that on this show before.
Yeah.
The documentary. But yeah, it's just like a collection of like 30 years of his home videos, and he put it into a film that's like several hours long. And yeah.
So when Alex identified that the footage being used for this video essay, this is all in voiceover. There's the person who's doing it is not on camera. He wondered if there was credit given in the description. So we looked, and at the bottom it said some of the effect of this video may contain copywritten material that's used under fair use because of the commentary clause of fair use and all that stuff. And so we kind of like having those, moments where you're like, how do we feel about this? This imagery was being used during this video, and we're purposely not going to link to the video or talk about it because we just don't want to.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, this is really cool right now. The two ivies converging.
Yeah.
Real and fake. It's just nice.
Well, and from my perspective, I see three. The two shadows.
Yeah. Sorry.
Synchronicity. I like it. And my story is long, so
I'm absolutely not trying to be like, oh, I'm not listening. I just totally sucked into
that was your truth in the moment. It was great. I love it. I wouldn't want you to stifle that impulse. That's what I learned in acting school. Stop stifling your impulses. Self-management. So yeah, we then had a conversation 2 weeks ago about
14 days.
Yeah, amazing how synchronicity. I'm wearing the same thing I wore 2 weeks ago. It's wild how that happens. So we just wondered, what does that mean if someone makes a video like this? Now, I'm going to describe what the channel feels like from my perspective. This is my perspective. You may feel differently if you look at it. You may feel differently when you looked at it. To me, it is presented as someone who is very much connected to art and being an artist. And the vibe of the channel, from the banner image to the name of the channel to the titles of the episodes, the thumbnails, everything, I get the impression that this person has sort of good taste, an eye for something that is interesting and different and cool, sets them apart. Not necessarily that it's calculated to be that way, but they just feel to me like someone who just kind of gets it. And for me, when you saw that credit wasn't given to the film that was put into the videos, and we're not sure if it's that film was cut up into different pieces and put in the film out of order, or if it was actually in sequence.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm just gonna go find that sequence now. Actually, I don't know if I'll do that, but either way, we should watch it together because it's beautiful. It's long, but I don't know if we do like little segments of it.
But for me, with my perception of the channel and how it's presented being very sort of pro art and artist, when you pointed out that there wasn't credit, I definitely was like, that's unfortunate. That bothers me. Now, I will say, in wrapping up, it is entirely possible that I am in violation in something that I've made of that I'm unaware of and need someone to point out, hey, you did this thing with this thing that you made, and it is exactly the same as the thing that this person did that you are opposed to. And it makes me want to re-examine anything I've made.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the setup. And then you went 2 weeks ago. You went a fortnight. You went. You went and gave an example of something and wondered, is that the same as this?
Yeah.
And that was, and I can let you tell it, but it was, unless you don't want to talk about that specifically, which is fine.
No, I just, the one thing that I think is interesting is, are you talking about the master?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess I can talk about that.
PTA.
Oh, yeah. So the one thing that I thought was interesting is, it's just like,
and if you need to fill in your own context or link to that better.
I mean, you covered it pretty well. I mean, here's like I have mixed feelings. It's important. Like dialogues like that, or like just talking about art and in a not as like a contrast to a commercial world it's important.
Mm-hmm.
It's also becoming a subgenre.
Mm-hmm.
More and more by the day, and it's just gonna get more. I mean, everything, like there's definitely a trend in that direction, and with any trend, any cultural trend, you're gonna have people that try to take advantage of that to bring themselves relevance. I'm not saying that that's what this person is doing, but I am saying that if all they're doing is taking a Jonas Mekas 25 minutes of clips from a film that's several hours long, and they're just putting sections and doing a kind of stream of consciousness, but also written out voiceover. I mean, it's not art, or it's not, I don't know if it's not like a creation, but it has more of the association in my mind of branding. It's branding. They're just very hyper aware of the brand that they're trying to create, and they are branding themselves. And I'm not even saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it is kind of in direct opposition to what they're speaking about. It's kind of it's the antithesis of what, in this case, what this video was about, ironically, and what the whole channel seems to be about. And I just think we need to be very careful and aware of people that are, and you could even say that we're just trying to capitalize on this whole, I mean, I personally, obviously, I always create a justification for everything that I do because I'm me, and that is how humans are. But like we've been having these conversations for a long time, and like we don't really try to promote this thing. But then again, if this like blew up, then we would the context change enough to where we're guilty of this same thing potentially? But yeah, I just. It's important, but it just rubs me the wrong way. And I don't even know, like, I didn't even engage with it enough to, I mean, I don't care enough to like try to, I'm not the police of what is art and what is not. Like, I don't care enough, nor am like, do I have any kind of say in this matter or like any matter for that? It just rubs me personally the wrong way, and I thought it was interesting, and we decided to talk about it. One thing though is like, we that led us to talk about artists dialoguing with the past, and this is an idea that I love. Older work, and I love this because last week, 2 weeks ago, 14 days, a fortnight, we we talked about this concept of like by way of influencing something stays alive.
Yeah.
Like just by way of having influence, it keeps that thing alive. And like the ability for people to interact with it. And I love, whether it's film, literature, music, whatever, I love things that interact or recreate things that are in dialogue with an older thing, because it gives that older thing life. It shares the influence to a new, and you know, you have examples of this being done in like, you know, maybe a fairly lazy way all the way to like a really interesting way.
Mm-hmm.
And what were we? So we were talking about The Master. And so The Master is one of my favorite PTA films, and I really love that film. I've seen it several times. And on this, there was like our local theater had PTA month, and that was one of the films that was playing, and it was on 35, and I hadn't seen it on 35 yet, and I was really excited to go see it. And so I went to see it with my wife and a buddy of ours. And it was amazing. It was great. And we're leaving the theater, and I was just, I don't know why, but I'd been listening to Alan Watts talks at some point in like the month or two before we went to see it. And I just had that rhythm, that like voice cadence in my mind. And I was like, oh man, Lancaster Dodd's cadence, his delivery. Mm-hmm. And so that's, you know, partially in the writing and then partially in Philip Seymour Hoffman. And obviously Alan Watts is British. Philip Seymour Hoffman is not, he's obviously not British in that role, but the delivery cadence, the way that he was like playing the room was the same.
Yep.
Or at least in my head, I was like, that's the same. That's Alan Watts. I'd seen that movie like 10 times. I'd never made that connection until then. I obviously have been listening to like Alan Watts talks since like high school. Mm-hmm. Cause everybody does that.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I told my buddy this, and then I kind of just let it sit. And, you know, for me, I like digging into those influences. Mm-hmm. And seeing where it came from. And then obviously, or not obviously, but like, so the shot in that film where the houseboat goes under the Golden Gate Bridge is like a recreation of an Orson Welles film. So it's like dialoguing with that.
An homage,
literally, yeah, kind of an homage to that. And this isn't like, I mean, I have a very clear opinion on this. Like, this isn't stealing. Like, people are like, oh, he's stealing the shot or whatever. This is like, PTA clearly knows how to make and write and direct a film. Mm-hmm. This isn't like, he's not using this as a crutch. He's using this as a way to dialogue with something that he respects or that he admires, and a way to bring that into, again, like we talked about with The Cave last week, you know, or 2 weeks ago, 14 days, a fortnight. He's using that as a way to, you know, bring it back into the cultural spotlight, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. which is a wonderful thing. That's literally what like film needs that to survive. Mm-hmm. That's part of, you know, creating film or any art form. But yeah, I was sitting a couple of weeks ago, and I became aware. I had no idea of like this, like Alan Watts houseboat, and it has a name. What was the? I'll just give the name so people can look this up if they want. So the houseboat is called the Vallejo. It's like a ferry, a steam ferry. And it was a boat that Alan Watts used to host parties and events on, and to do work on occasionally. And it was in San Francisco, and it was hosted a lot of, you know, intellectuals and thinkers and things like that, and they would come and, you know, just do what that group of people does. And for those of you that have seen The Master, you know that that's like the primary setting for, 40% of the film. So I was like, oh, okay. So there's definitely like some inspiration that was drawn from this. Maybe I don't know if he was researching that, and then maybe he like took the cadence just unconsciously, or if it was conscious, who cares? But just cool connection. Long way of saying, I mentioned that, and then I was like, I don't know if that's the same thing as this.
No. Yeah.
And you were pretty clear about, that's not.
No.
And so why do you think? And I don't think it is either.
Yeah.
Because of just the raw materials that go into it. Like, although I don't know how much time she spent writing these essays.
Right.
So that's not fair of me to like critique, but I know PTA probably spent like years writing that film. I know Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix spent decades honing their craft, and every member of that crew spent.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to say that YouTube art is not as significant as that, but then again, like there are. Yeah. So anyways, I'll shut up and let you.
Yeah. I mean, in two different forms, an essay certainly has its place in the world of art and creativity. Maybe it's on like an extreme end of the spectrum of the art side, especially if it's sort of a critical essay or, something that presents a thesis and then is elaborated upon to come to reinforce that thesis or come to a conclusion. To me, though, the two words that I think of is with The Master is it's a sort of reconstitution of those influences and ingredients. Whereas taking this footage from this documentary, whether it's played for 24 minutes as it was presented in the documentary frame for frame, or if it's chopped up and reorganized or whatever, the word I think of is an appropriation of that piece of work, that piece of finished, realized work. And even if you are rearranging it, you are still you're still appropriating, frames or groups of frames of that film in the way that it was shown in the movie. Now, if this person like put a filter on there and change the color, okay.
Did they though?
I doubt it.
I don't think they even.
Right. And I'm not saying like, okay, then that constitutes a reconstitution.
Well, and like, but even if they did that, then that gives me at least like, there's like an original vision.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at like certain,
like a parrot, like
Godard, or things like that. Reconstitution of
right,
like the open source image or things like that. Yeah,
or the one that's been closest to being difficult and is like a Weird Al Yankovic parody.
Yeah,
he's literally taking the music note for note, re-performing it himself with his band, and coming up with new lyrics to be comedic and satirical and whatever he's trying to be. And while that to me is there's an art form in parody. I think some would argue something like that is difficult when it comes to originality, and others would go, nope, that's wholly original. At least in court, it's considered original, I believe.
It's almost like, though, if your topic is how art should be separate from like a commercial product, you shouldn't be defining your art or your originality in legalistic terms.
Yeah.
Like that's
right.
In complete opposition to the core thesis that you're trying to. It's not very persuasive if that.
Yeah.
Not that, and I mean, like I don't like. I'll be the first to say I don't think art should ever try to persuade. I'm like
100%.
Completely opposed to hyper didactic art.
Is it even art if it is hyper didactic?
Right. I mean, yeah, it's like that's an oxymoron. Like, hyper didactic.
Yeah.
In my mind, disqualifies it from being art. It's propaganda.
Yeah, something
at that
else.
point. Yeah.
So,
and I stole that from Gary Winograd.
You bastard.
That's another one of my GPTs. I have to mention like every third episode or whatever.
Right. Yes, that's on the teleprompter actually.
Yeah. Yep.
Queued it up nicely. Street photographer. Insert street photographer.
Yeah. Yep. New York.
That's right. That's right. So, all of that to say, I would be curious, and I know this is difficult for those who are listening because you don't have the exact channel in front of you. You haven't watched the video.
I want to make sure we're taking it above that, so it's not. That's not essential.
And my hope is that you can understand this idea of someone writing an essay, recording a voiceover to have their own original thoughts, and again, thoughts that are shaped from other influences, things they've read, things they've watched, things they've consumed, and taking that voiceover and putting it on a video that is taken from another artist without direct credit.
There also, on that channel, just a brief observation that just came to mind, there seems to be like a release cadence in several videos that kind of also oppose the idea that that's being discussed.
Yeah.
Like if the idea is how, art is not commerce, yet there's like all of these commercial elements in it's almost like I mean, we've talked about this before, but like the format of YouTube dominates so much that like whether you realize it or not, you're building on a framework that's already like removed the possibility of creating something that's truly anything just because of the parameters of the frame. If you're trying to succeed on the platform, like it's going to force your hand to a certain set of parameters. And in this case, this channel is like doing pretty good. Like there's a lot of videos that have been posted.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying an artist cannot be, cannot release a lot of material, There's several prolific artists, but I don't know. It just upon first read, that's like my thought. And again, I don't want to critique too much because I'm not going to put the effort into like, there's no, I get nothing out of like speaking down on anybody in this sense. And then also it's like, I'm not going to put the time in to go back and be like, oh, is this doing this? Or like Matt showed it to me. I looked at it for a couple of minutes and I like gave first thoughts and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, for all intents and purposes, it's like I'll probably leave it there, but it's just interesting,
right? And I think that to bring it home, the question I have is, if someone makes something that does what this video did, do they have an obligation to credit the source of the imagery? I mean, if you write a academic paper and you defend your thesis by bringing up points that were made in other books or publications or artwork, whatever, you have a footnotes or a bibliography, you have to cite your sources, cite your work. Does something like this. And the reason I asked that is because essentially what you did was, and I'm kind of coming up with this analogy on the spot, it probably is going to make it seem a little bit more nefarious than maybe this person's intent was. But it was as if I saw behind the curtain of The Wizard of Oz.
Well, it's like if you screened your film at a film festival and it was just somebody else's images and you did a voiceover, why would that be acceptable?
Yeah.
And like, should it be acceptable? I don't know. Maybe.
So,
but why, like, it wouldn't be acceptable in that. And so why is it acceptable on YouTube?
So my feeling is that there was a meaning and a sort of understanding of what this work was, thinking that this person creatively and artfully collaged together these disparate clips and all that. And collage is a great word for it because I think of collage artists, and I love collage work. I did a lot of collage stuff when I was a kid, cutting out interesting images from magazines and sort of recontextualizing them into something that meant something to me, that made me feel a certain way. A woman from a Good Housekeeping magazine and a receipt from a grocery store, I don't know, and putting all these different things together. Now, that woman in the photograph was someone else's work, and trying to reconstitute it, like we said earlier, gives it a different meaning, and it's new work, right? So I had formed this feeling about what I was experiencing, what I was watching, who this person was, and to find out that they're putting in this somewhat obscure footage from a documentary without giving credit, although acknowledging that it's copywritten, kind of shatters this thing that I had built up in my mind.
Well, let me play devil's advocate.
Yeah, please do.
So when I first started, like, I guess, like, specifically with screenwriting, and I think a lot of people do this when they're like first starting.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if you did this. Did you ever write a scene that was like visually very weak? Like maybe it's just like a close up, and then you have a song that really makes you feel something.
It's so funny that you
over
brought
it.
this up. I've been thinking about this the whole time.
Did you do that? Because I did that. Certainly. Where you're literally using the music as a crutch to carry you. Like you do not have the skill to express the emotional content that you need to express in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So you use this song that just breaks you or brings you to that emotional kind of high point, and you just overlay that on the scene. And so you're like, oh, this scene's doing all the work, like, because this music is going to have that same effect on somebody else. And so devil's advocate would be, like, one of your comments was like, this person seems so young.
Yeah.
So what if this is just like a 15 to 22-year-old, and this is them not yet having the ability to create the imagery that they want to, or that they see that gets them to this emotional place. And so they're borrowing somebody else's. And it's like, while again, that was like, that was like, I don't even think that, like, it's not good writing. Like I don't look at scenes like that and I'm like, oh man, like this was killer. Because like you're relying on the music to do all the work.
And do you mean that you're relying on the music, listening to it while you write it, but if it were to be...
Oh, I mean like full on, like you put it in the script as like
a, yeah.
Like, oh, I have this scene that needs to get this emotion across. I'm going to put this song in it, and then just like hold in like a medium close up.
Yeah.
And that's going to do the trick.
Yeah.
It's like, so instead of actually using your toolbox as a writer or a filmmaker, you're essentially just using somebody else's skills.
I think that really brings up a question about music.
Because that's the same thing as this person's doing in my mind.
That one went down. I think that brings up a question about music and movies in general. Iconic moments in film where an artist or a composer did not create original music specifically for that movie in collaboration with the director.
Well, but I think at a certain point, like, the director earns the, like, like the way like a Scorsese uses music is he loads the film with music because it's the setup for the payoff of the moments without the music. Like he Orson, there's a great Orson Welles quote in a documentary where he says, he's talking about music in film. And they're like, what is the importance of music in film? And he says, music highlights silence. And it's like, that's the purpose.
Yeah.
And when you can use that to bring in some kind of, you know, a cultural, like a cultural context, or you can use the music to bring in some kind of an aesthetic, or even like a juxtaposition or a contrast. We just lost both these. We'll have to wrap this up pretty soon. Or a contrast to what's being shown. I thought we had more time.
Yeah, no.
Should we just end it right there?
No. Just let the video keep going.
Or a contrast to what's being shown. Like there's just a more skillful way to use it. But like when we're writing these scripts, really like that's not, we're not using it in a skillful way.
Yeah.
Like that is just a lack of understanding of where the music comes into the picture.
Yep.
And I think that could be what's happening here with images, is there's just like a gap in ability that might be overcome eventually, but it could just be youth and inexperience.
So
like the intention is not bad.
Sure, absolutely. And I don't think it is either. But does omitting the credit, if the credit was there, would you then go?
They don't know because the cameras are off, but I'm naked right now.
If you saw that the credit was there in the description, or it was in the video itself, like in an end credits or whatever, would you regard what this person did similarly to what a PTA or Scorsese does when he uses another artist's work to
no
to enhance what they're asking, doing, creating?
No. And I'm not trying to be offensive to this person, but
not
like
at all.
This isn't like my problem with this isn't the lack of credit per se. Like I would like appreciate the credit. I think the reason that this person didn't put the credit in there, unless they are just maybe they don't realize where this is from. I highly doubt it.
I highly doubt it.
I think they probably have. They know that like, oh, if they are just taking it, like, oh, let me just find a 28-minute section and then throw it in here.
Yeah.
Like, let me just cut out 28 minutes and toss it in here and talk over it.
Yeah.
If they recognize that, they probably recognize the fact that if they gave credit, it would give away the illusion.
Right.
And then it would take away. So it's like there's a self-realization happening, likely.
Yeah.
That, oh, this isn't really art. But I mean, is that any different from like us realizing, like, you know, reading back on some of that stuff where we just put music in the whatever?
Yeah.
Is that any different from us realizing like, oh, that's shit? Like that is shite.
Yep.
You know, that's a shite scene.
I think something interesting about music in a movie, Scorsese, PTA, it is part of a large pool of ingredients that make up that finished piece of artwork. And for this when you're talking about just this video, there are two ingredients. Arguably three.
Voiceover track.
It's a voice
and the
word, the essay that was written.
Yeah, I guess
voice,
the performance,
the vocal performance,
the essay,
and the images.
Yeah.
And to me, there are too few ingredients to make the imagery supportive rather than like half the thing. I know it's a third, but it's like,
well, it's like I'm the performance is not great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just objectively, like I'm not, but both you and I said like, oh, there's like an artifice to this. Like there's like it feels like a performance.
Yeah. And I mean, that is a subjective interpretation. I don't know if it's like empirically that way.
I mean, I don't know though, because if it wasn't, I mean, unless she's actually just going off the top of her head.
Yeah.
Which then that kind of is also defeating, because then that takes away the other, that takes away the premeditated, crafted form of the essay. So then it's just somebody riffing over a clips, which honestly is what we're doing right now. No,
we're just black.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna come up with something.
I'm gonna put the Jonas Mekas.
There you go.
Yeah.
Credit given in the credits.
Yeah. No, I mean, no, I'm doing like Barney reruns or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Really fun.
VeggieTales.
What's that scene in Shortcuts where she's like on the phone with the...
God, dude, I haven't seen
the
that
sex
in a
line.
long time.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I don't know why I thought of that.
There's a sex line in Punch Drunk Love too.
There is.
He stole it from Shortcuts.
Like if there's three elements, then one of the elements isn't theirs. One of the elements isn't done well. And I'm not saying it wouldn't get better, but it's still like very raw.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know, but craft is definitely
it is resonating with a lot of people though.
Important. It is. Then again, I just don't know. Like, is that just like,
and that doesn't mean that it's good. It just means that it's people are they're enjoying something. Now the thing that
branding.
I was enjoying,
it's like branding.
A lot of what I was enjoying though was this imagery. This imagery was very enigmatic and
Well, I've
surreal.
been saying we need to watch this thing together for
I'm like
2 years.
And it is doing a lot of work to enhance what I'm hearing.
Well, you even said like, I feel like I wish the writing was better.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm getting at. Like if 2 out of the 3 things are subpar and then the one thing that's outstanding isn't theirs, that's not art.
And I want everyone.
When
I say I wish,
I want to just give a little bit of like, because I don't have any interest in being this negative.
It's not about being negative.
Like I'm not trying to be.
If we would just sat down and said, "Hey, there's this channel, let's roast it." That's different than this person made a choice.
Yeah.
Or didn't make a choice and was sort of just doesn't know better.
Yeah.
Those are two different things, of course. If it was obviously a intentional omission of the credit because it was...
Well, and again, it's not so much the credit. It's just like...
The acknowledgement
like
of...
This is it's just a very lazy misunderstanding of what like art actually is. Like they'd be better off just taking a camera and going out and
collecting their own imagery.
And that would be closer to real art than what this is.
Yeah.
And I think that misunderstanding is justifiable in just about any circumstance except for one where you are... Is pontificating too strong? Like, you're literally...
Yeah, it's a combination of pontification and sort of, this is the big one. It's like philo-wisdomizing. It's like this merging of philosophy and wisdom that you are there's sort of like a question that's asked in this conflict that's brought up, and then it's sort of brought together with like a point of view. And now it's not like
it's really nice that we talked about the master just with this, because it's just like it's not true. It's not like it's not coming from a place, or maybe it even is coming from a place of honesty, but it's closer to like misunderstanding, delusion than it is to.
Again, to me, it comes down to the two words.
It sounds really. I'm not trying to be cruel either. I just want to be super clear. Like this is. Yeah.
Look. No matter what, I think it's an appropriation. And there can be an appropriation of something that is innocent and sort of clueless.
And sometimes an appropriation is beautiful because it does serve the purpose of showing the perspective of the person that is appropriating a thing.
Yeah.
Like by way of the appropriation, you are creating a new context.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, if you're doing that in an honest way, that's art.
I agree.
There you go.
Especially when it is clear to the viewer what you've appropriated.
Yeah.
Versus.
But this is not that.
Versus.
It's not that.
I have built this whole idea of you and what you're doing and your perspective and what you are representing and all of this stuff. Sort of you as a creative. And then it's just a moment of, when that idea is broken because you learn something that bothers you. Now, look, I have my photography channel where I go out and take photographs of stuff that I see, and I take video of interesting things that I see, and I go to a website and take a music track that lets me remove stems. If I don't want the bass drum in there, I can remove it. If I just want the synth bed, and I can sort of reconstitute that person's music into something I like more than the form that they originally intended.
Yeah.
And even in doing that, I'm giving credit at the end of the video on screen and in the description. This is where I got this music from. Yeah. It's from this site. It's from these artists. This is the name of the song. And I'm not like, this isn't pat myself on the back, I'm such a great artist or creative, because my videos essentially are similar in ingredients. It's a photograph, a video, and sound. 4 ingredients: music, and then the sound of the natural environment where I filmed it and did photographing. That's my thing that I made. And I think that even though people might watch that and go, I really like this. There is something, this makes me tell a story about the person who made this, and I come up with this or that or whatever. I don't feel like there's anything in the presentation of what I've made where if they found out this thing, they would go,
it would shatter. It would shatter the entire. Yeah. I mean, it's just like,
they may not like that I can't make my own music. Like I couldn't actually play and score my own videos. But Casey Neistat can't either. He has somebody else do it. And guess what he does at the end of every video? He credits them.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's...
And PTA credits all the music in his film.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, it's just, that's the thing. It's just, and, but then again, I don't want to be too harsh, because it's like, we've all done that thing. Like, we've all done that thing where we have some kind of artistic intuition or feeling, and we use a crutch to get, to reach that expression. And, maybe to this person, giving that credit is like, admitting that they're not at this moment capable of creating something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, shit, like Jonas Mekas is not a bad influence.
Yeah.
So like, this person is not like, this is not the end of their artistic journey, so hopefully they grow past this, and maybe this is just like the start. Maybe this is just put the Radiohead song in the action line and then write your scene.
And I think this brings up another interesting question. I keep gravitating towards a rule. If what you're doing with the thing that you're making contains this without this, it's wrong, right? I want to have this hard, fast rule.
Yeah.
And I feel like what you're talking about is, let's try to attach ourselves to that person's intention.
Yeah.
And it is likely that this person was not trying to pull a fast one on anyone.
Yeah.
They love this imagery. They want it to be a part of their expression. And there was a very innocent and altruistic incorporation of that work into their work.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Yep. And, it's like, would it be better to credit that person?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then, it's like, it's hard to admit to yourself that you're not at the level that you want to be.
Yeah.
It's like we go through that every day with tons of things.
Absolutely.
And so do I blame that person for being like, I'm not going to include that?
Right.
If somebody calls me out on it, then I'll say, sure.
Well,
but then also maybe just trusting the fact that like this is such an obscure, it's pretty obscure pull. It's not like the most obscure, certainly not, but it is obscure enough to where, you can probably be pretty confident that you could build an audience that's not gonna.
Well, here's how this comes full circle with something we talked about 2 weeks ago. 14 days, a fortnight. Talked about finite and infinite.
Yeah.
And in the society example, it was like
society versus culture.
Yeah, this is a bad paraphrase of it, but essentially sort of like, if you have acquired something and you fear the loss of it, you will make enemies out of those that put that at risk, right? So her channel created something that I liked, an idea, a feeling, an impression, something that made me intrigued and interested, and start telling a story of maybe who this person was, especially because it's just a disembodied voice, and your imagination starts telling a story and putting all this stuff together. Right. And I built this thing that wasn't given to me.
Well, and that's why I said it was super effective branding.
And I liked that feeling.
Yeah.
And then it was taken away.
Yeah.
And that loss creates outrage or anger, and then are you looking for something to make the enemy, because they did something wrong? They broke a rule. And am I just having this kind of finite reaction that needs to be more nuanced and spectrum-based and on a gradient?
Yeah.
And just chill the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I hope I'm not misinterpreting.
There's always a chance that they are completely aware of it and they said, I'm going to create a channel and I'm going to take advantage of this authentic art shit.
Yeah.
Because that is a space that, it's the example from a couple of weeks ago. It's the channel, the person wants to just be an influencer or a blogger or a vlogger or whatever. So they pick a genre of, health or dumb phones or like, here's this thing that I'm going to that I don't really care about, but I'm going to assume the identity of because it's going to allow me to gain influence.
Yep.
So maybe that is. And that's one thing I said is like, we have to be very careful because we are treading into territory where effectively branding authenticity is going to be valuable. Mm-hmm. It's going to be culturally significant. And when that happens, you're creating a world where suddenly it is, it is monetarily incentivized to, falsify or to manipulate, this idea of, to go back to the finite and infinite games example, to create borders on this thing that should be infinite, to pick enemies and to, fight against things. And and that's dangerous. And we have to be careful as a species. We have to be careful about that. But that it's also not the first time it's happened. It's not the last time that'll happen. It's just something to be aware of. But
well, and I
don't think that's what this person is doing. Benefit of the doubt. I say it's probably not. I say it's probably more likely that it's just like it's the what's the Ira Glass concept of like the gap or whatever, where it's skill and taste.
Right.
It's probably that manifesting in a number of ways, but
well, and also what we've talked about before, sort of the difference between an artist and a hack, and that being someone that sort of sees an opportunity and crafts something, kind of like you said, branding, to reach a sort of a commercial end. And commercial doesn't always have to be money in the way that I'm saying. It could be fame, it could be influence, it could be these things that are the cultural currency.
Yeah.
And I think maybe part of my frustration with it is that deep down there are, concerns and hesitations and thoughts of me doing similar things. Am I wearing the clothes that I'm wearing because I truly love them, or is part of me wearing them because of what it'll signal?
Yeah.
And what it might make someone think about me because, oh, you've got that jacket, or you've got that cool t-shirt, or you've got this or that, and is it do you realize at the end of the day that, the banner on her channel, the way her voiceover is, or the obscure documentary she used, is that another version of what I or someone else might do to achieve some kind of more shallow result, which is, money, riches, wealth, influence, power, relevance, people you don't know thinking nice things about you, all of that. And that's, I think this little thing on a YouTube channel throws all of that stuff into the blender and makes you go, I'm, again, a little bit of everything. I probably do a lot of stuff with pure intentions, and I probably do a lot of stuff to signal, to brand myself, to, all of this stuff. And it vacillates back and forth between degrees of intensity. And maybe you pulled back from your YouTube channel because there was something going on there with something on that other side that this doesn't feel good. And I can withstand a lot more of that than you can. All of that.
Yeah. It's an interesting, I'm glad you showed it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to I feel, part of me does feel a little bit of guilt because my intention wasn't to ruin a thing. Like,
no.
And I don't want you to be like, oh, I don't want to show him this thing that I like because he's going to just like shatter it. Like, that's not, like, I didn't want to shatter it.
No.
But it's just like,
well, and you had no idea what my perception of it was, but you just made a sort of an objective observation. It was just a simple thing, and it brought about a greater awareness of what this thing is.
Yeah.
And I can let my imagination take it to a dark place, or I can give people the benefit of the doubt and keep things in a positive light and go, okay, well, you had a perception of this thing and an idea of what it was, and now that will shift and adjust and evolve.
Yeah.
And reach a different level of understanding. And maybe a year from now, if you're still watching things from this person, you'll compare and contrast where they are later and earlier, just like you would want someone to do for the stuff that you do.
Absolutely.
I do.
I mean, I wouldn't want somebody like judging me, by the work I made when I was, 15 or 20 or even, 22, 23. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's something too about constantly working at the edge of your current capability.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's something to that of always being at the absolute razor's edge of your current capability.
Mm-hmm.
And, that might, that it might look like, I don't know, excuse the overused expression, but child's play.
Yeah.
20 years down the line. But if you're at the moment, that is the edge of your current capability. And if it is honest, then that work will never lose its relevance to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it will never, and there's, if it never loses its relevance to you, it'll never lose its relevance to some people. But then, there's also like, I think the big thing there is like, is it like, there's obviously there is a bit of a benefit of growing a channel like that.
Yeah.
But like, if this person really does care about creating art, they can have they can have 5 million fucking subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
If they care about creating art, if that's not just something that they're talking about doing, and maybe it is just that, it is just the subgenre to achieve the means to the end.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, more power to them. But if they really do care about it, like, this will eat at them, because this is not the right approach. That's my opinion.
All right. Well, I'm going to say something that kind of blows this up a little bit.
I'll put clothes on that. Fine.
So our podcast starts off with 2 pieces of IP or content that are not something we made.
Yeah.
The imagery.
Dude, I don't even know where it's from, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea.
And this is not...
I literally searched when I made this. So if somebody can tell us, we will happily credit it. I literally don't know. I searched Japanese anime, car whatever.
Yeah.
And just found these clips.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. I mean, obviously we know that the Larry Fisherman.
Right.
I mean, the Mac Miller birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And then, there's the Gatsby quote in that, which is being used from the awful, awful Gatsby movie. What was that, like 1970?
With,
what's his name?
Robert Redford and, what's his name?
Oh, just dirtbag.
Yeah.
He's not, I don't know if he's actually he just plays dirtbags.
God, what's that
But
guy's
that
name?
movie stinks. Anyways, yeah.
And I don't mean to say like...
I'm not trying to defend. Like,
no.
Sure. I literally, it's not like I'm not putting it in. And that's why I did say, like, if she doesn't know where this is from.
Right.
But, I mean, if you're putting 20 minutes into it, there's likelihood is that you know it's but I literally don't know where this is from. Right. I have no fucking clue. It's been 3 years, too, since I pulled that.
Yep.
I don't have.
Yeah. But I think there's like an innocence of that.
Yeah.
That so let's say somebody watches our podcast and says, hey, check out these guys' podcasts.
Yeah.
And the friend there is like hardcore anime.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's from whatever. And the guy's like, I've been watching this for 2 years.
I don't know if we've ever I don't know if any part of our podcast though hinges on that. Like we could take the intro away completely and our podcast is the exact same. Like we literally had the conversation. Like there might be a time and I don't think this will happen because this is, one, his estate manages the thing and they're really good about it. But you're like, if we ever got like copyrighted for that Larry Fisherman intro.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we'd have to just fucking go take it out and it would suck.
Yeah.
We'd have to literally but YouTube makes it easy. We could just carve it out of every episode pretty easily. Doesn't change the content at all.
Yeah.
Changes the vibe a little bit.
Yep.
But
exactly. Whereas
we could do a replace with some beep, 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 and it's the same.
Yep. How's that go?
Beep, beep.
That's it. Just extract that audio of the future. It's just.
And I get it. I sound like I'm being super defensive here.
No, it's not about being defensive. It's trying to. Again, it sucks because we're
draw lines.
Yeah, right. Which is like the opposite of what our heart wants us to do. But then there's a part of your brain that goes, well, we need to have some groundwork here. And I think you're making a great argument. The entirety of what we make does not hinge on this ingredient being present. And there's an argument that these videos of this person, because there's 3 ingredients and this is one of them, and it's 24 minutes, 28 minutes, 17 minutes.
The subscriber count would not be the same without the images. If you took it away and just had black or them on camera.
Or they source their own imagery by using a camcorder and filming weird shit.
Yeah.
It's and editing it all together. That channel could have more people.
I think of the intellectual content though of an Alex Soth essay where he's just sitting at his desk and he's filming the shitty top down.
Yep, the overhead. Yep.
And I'm like, so what if he put Jonas Mekas over his talks? How profound would that be?
Yeah.
So
I am curious for our listeners and our viewers, and I know our listeners don't have a way to comment on the audio podcast, but they could come over to the YouTube channel and write a comment. I'd just be curious to hear
a goddamn review.
Write a review
podcast,
and then throw some comments down. Again, I know it's a little difficult to get as close to this as we are because you haven't seen the channel and the videos,
and we can't. It just kind of...
It doesn't work then?
I'm not... Yeah, no, we can't show those.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm not going to,
that's just cunty.
I don't want to...
That's poor behavior.
And I know it's just show us whatever, but it definitely is without question, a hard no on sort of outing.
Yeah. YouTube's big enough. You're probably not... Yeah, it's just... just not... It's out of the question.
But for those of you that are... kind of engaged in this question about how do you handle these types of things and sort of what is again, I'm trying to avoid rules, just in the situation that we're talking about, do you think it's appropriate for someone to give credit or are they okay not to?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite expressions. It's like when people are, it's porn. You know it when you see it.
Just the easy out. It's porn.
You know it when you see it. Describe when does it cross over? It's buddy.
Buddy.
If we're having this conversation, then you haven't seen it yet.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. So,
is that from anything? Is that
I don't know. We need to find it. I've used that 250,000 times.
It's a good. Yeah. You know it when you see it.
I know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well,
it had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer.
Bye.